Will something in you be disappointed if you never see any evidence that he has learned a lesson, or if he does something like this again?
Very much so. I hoped that the president would have learned from the fact that he was impeached by the House, even though I think that was a partisan move. But there were so many of us who are Republicans in the Senate who were very critical of the call. The call was wrong. Parts of the call were fine. But then the president mixed in asking a federal government to investigate a political rival, and he should not have done that. And I would hope that he would not do it again.
Did he give you any assurance that he would not do something like that again, except foreign help in anything related to someone that might be running with him? Did you talk to him about it at all?
I've had no conversations with him throughout the trial.
So why do you have that feeling that he has changed, that he learned a lesson?
Well, I may not be correct on that. It's more aspirational on my part. It's more that I hope that he's listened to the many voices in the Senate who have pointed out that the call was very problematic.
This is Susan Collins with a defense of the president that has somehow managed to age even more poorly than he has. Here, the Republican from Maine is claiming that she may not have been correct when she said that Trump learned his lesson from his impeachment, saying now that she only hopes he'll have learned his lesson, a statement that she was forced to admit was only aspirational and not actually grounded in reality. Now, that's a far cry from the statement she made only a day earlier. Susan Collins spoke with CBS's Norah O'Donnell and claimed then that Trump had totally, definitely learned his lesson from his impeachment.
Are you confident that the president won't seek foreign assistance again?
I believe that the president has learned from this case.
What do you believe the president has learned?
The president has been impeached. That's a pretty big lesson.
Only Collins would be surprised to then have Donald Trump himself come out and undermine that defense immediately. When asked whether he made any mistakes related to Ukraine or whether he would have done anything differently, Trump didn't skip a beat before claiming outright that he had done nothing wrong, saying, quote, "It was a perfect call." In other words, Susan Collins might be pretty shocked to find out that no, he did not learn any lesson from his impeachment. And in fact, he's still shouting the same tired, detached from reality excuses that he's been tweeting for months. I mean, seriously, he has tweeted and repeated on a daily basis that his call with Zelensky was, quote, perfect. The guy's only stopped one step short of plastering it in gold lettering on the front of the White House. Why Susan Collins would ever think that suddenly he'd have some epiphany and realize that, hey, maybe the call where I literally asked for the favor of dirt on my political opponent wasn't, perfect is beyond me. The guy never has and never will admit any fault. He could accidentally call Barron by the wrong name. He'd be more likely to have the name legally changed than to admit he misspoke. And by the way, Susan Collins absolutely should have seen this coming because we see this on a constant basis. Where Trump does something depraved, Republicans offer some generous defense of him, and Trump himself turns around and says, nope, I did it and I meant it and I'll do it again. Think about it. Trump got caught asking Ukraine for a quid pro quo, Republicans rallied to his defense and said that there's no way he did that, and then Trump stood up and said this.
If they were honest about it, they'd start a major investigation into the Bidens. It's a very simple answer. And by the way, likewise, China should start an investigation into the Bidens.
Not only did he admit that the purpose of the call was to start an investigation into the Bidens, but he added another country. So sure, Republicans can stick their necks out to defend the guy, but he is so steeped in his own criminal behavior that he's not even able to discern anymore what is legal and what is a massive impeachable offense. There's also the slight issue that the entire request for dirt from Ukraine came literally one single day after Robert Mueller testified to Congress at the end of a 2-year investigation of the Trump campaign's cooperation with Russia. He didn't even wait a full 24 hours for the dust to settle on one instance of encouraging a foreign power to meddle in our election before he tried to do it again. Not only is he not capable of remorse like Collins said, he's not actually capable of following the law. But truly, my favorite part of Susan Collins' revised statement here is when she says that Trump, quote, should not have done that, referring to asking a foreign government to investigate a political rival, as if all we can do here is hope. As if Susan Collins had no power whatsoever besides just holding her breath and clasping her hands real tight and wishing upon the stars that the president won't, yet again, seek a foreign country's interference on his behalf in a presidential election. As if Susan Collins wasn't just a juror in an impeachment trial where she could have voted to hold him accountable instead of just sitting on her hands and hoping real hard. And yet that she voted to acquit him for the exact same action that she says he shouldn't have done goes to show just how seriously she takes her own sentiments here. So Susan Collins can pretend that Trump will be anything but emboldened by this entire impeachment, but she's fooling no one. All she's accomplishing by trying to defend someone unwilling to be defended is embarrassing herself and proving to the American people that her judgment is worthless.